Today, I will share with you a super simple but extremely delicious breakfast dish, egg bread. With just a few familiar ingredients available in the kitchen, you can completely make a loaf of bread that is crispy on the outside, soft and fatty on the inside, and smells of eggs and pepper. Let's get started. First, I prepare a loaf of freshly baked crispy bread. Use a knife to cut off the top part to create a wide enough mouth. Then, I gently scoop out all the soft white inside, leaving only the crispy outer shell. At this point, the bread looks like a cute little mold, ready to hold the egg filling inside. Next, I set the bread aside and prepare a large bowl. Crack in about 5 to 7 eggs depending on the size of the bread and taste. After cracking, I put the eggs into the bread core. Then, add a little salt and a little pepper to create a rich, delicious flavor. Then, I use a fork or egg beater to mix everything well. Beat until the yolks and whites blend together, creating a smooth, thick mixture with a beautiful, bright yellow color. After the eggs are ready, we move on to preparing the vegetables and toppings to make the sandwich more flavorful and attractive. First, I take an onion, slice it horizontally into thin slices, then gently separate the onion strands to separate them evenly. Once the onions are separated, I put them directly into the bread, covering the eggs evenly. Next is the sausage. I cut the sausage into thin slices, then arrange them evenly on the surface of the bread. When grilled, the sausage will be slightly burnt at the edges, giving off a very attractive aroma. Next, I prepare the bell peppers. Cut the peppers in half, remove all the seeds inside, then slice them lengthwise into thin strips. The color of the bell peppers makes the sandwich look more eye-catching and brings a natural sweetness. I put the sliced bell peppers into the bread. Next is the parsley. I chopped this vegetable into small pieces and sprinkled it evenly on top, creating a fresh green color and a light aroma, balancing the fat of the eggs and sausages. Then, I grated a little more cheese and sprinkled it evenly on top. When baked or fried, the cheese will melt, binding the ingredients together and creating an extremely attractive fatty layer. The last layer is tomatoes. I cut the tomatoes in half, then dice them and put them in the bread. The light sourness and juiciness of the tomatoes help the bread become harmonious, not greasy, and have an extremely eye-catching color. Now, let's move on to the baking step. First, I put the prepared loaf of bread on a plate lined with foil. The foil helps to keep the heat even and prevents the bread from burning at the bottom while baking. Then, I put the bread in the air fryer. I preheated the pot to 180 degrees Celsius, equivalent to 365 degrees Fahrenheit, so that the bread can be baked immediately, helping the outside to be crispy faster, while the inside remains soft and moist. The bread will be baked for about 15 minutes, just enough for the cheese to melt, the eggs to be cooked through, and the ingredients inside to blend together to create an extremely attractive aroma. While waiting for the bread to be cooked, I took the opportunity to mix the dipping sauce to make the egg bread more flavorful and attractive. First, I prepared a small bowl and added about 3 tablespoons of sour cream. Sour cream has a light, mildly sour taste, which will help the sauce become smooth and balance the flavor with the egg and rich cheese in the cake. Next, I chopped some dill. This is the ingredient that helps create a fresh and pleasant aroma for the sauce. When the dill is mixed in, you will feel a mild aroma, very suitable for dishes with eggs or milk. I put the chopped vegetables into the bowl of sour cream, mixed gently to spread the aroma evenly. Then, I grated some fresh cucumber, only taking the green crispy part on the outside, then put it in the bowl. The cucumber helps the sauce to have more crunch and a natural cool taste, making the dish not greasy even with a lot of cheese. When mixed, the cucumber juice will mix with the sour cream, creating a smooth, cool mixture. Finally, I grated some fresh garlic. Only about half a clove is enough. Garlic helps to bring out the flavor, making the sauce deeper and richer. Put the garlic in a bowl and stir well until all the ingredients are combined. At this point, the sauce will have a rich, slightly sour aroma, mixed with the aroma of garlic and dill, which is extremely stimulating to the taste buds. When finished, I let the sauce rest in the refrigerator for a few minutes to cool slightly. When eaten with hot egg bread, the combination of hot, cold, fatty, light will bring an extremely pleasant and delicious feeling. After about 15 minutes, the cake was golden brown and gave off an extremely attractive aroma. I opened the air fryer. The hot steam came out along with the scent of eggs, cheese, and sausages, making anyone who smelled it feel hungry. Using tongs, I gently took the cake out and placed it on a cutting board to cool down a bit. When the cake had cooled down enough, I used a sharp knife to divide the cake into 3 equal parts. As I cut, the crust was crispy, while the inside was soft, moist, golden, and the cheese melted. At this point, the cake was complete, both beautiful and fragrant. Next, I took a piece of cake out onto a plate and presented it neatly. Next to it was a bowl of freshly mixed sour cream sauce, ivory white with a bit of green from dill and cucumber. Just looking at it made me feel fresh. When I dipped the cake into the sauce, the flavors blended between fatty, salty, slightly sour, and fragrant, making the dish even more special. A simple egg sandwich, but with a few small variations, you can turn a familiar breakfast into an attractive, delicious, and energetic dish. So with just a few familiar ingredients, we have a delicious, crispy, and nutritious egg bread for breakfast. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to give me more motivation to share more delicious dishes.